And we're live. Welcome to Panfish Nation. This is not the bait shop. We take things a little different over here. We're a little more composed over here. It's just a different experience, folks. We love Chad. We love the show. There's D. Speaking of the bait shop, of course, I am Team Bait Shop. It's kind of hard to say. They got bacon over on Team No Script. So I don't know, Lyle. I'm having issues picking a side here, but me and you are going to have to talk.
Yeah.
I'm on Team Panfish Nation for sure, and I'm on Team Burnett. I want to say thank you, Tim, for sending me this cool sticker. Crappie stoppers.
Heck yeah, man. That's
I got
awesome.
some of your jigs and stuff. I adore them. But let me, I've caught a lot of fish on them so far. On some of the hardest days that I was having, the crappie stoppers came through, whether it was on the Wisconsin River or up here on the chain, did really good. And yours too, Lyle, by the way. Yours too. I caught a lot more on your guys than I did my hand ties.
It's really hard to compete with a hand tie compared to just about anything else, in my opinion.
You're right.
I plastics and everything, they all catch fish, but a hand tie seems to outfish everything, with the exception once in a while of live bait. But most of the time, they'll even outfish live bait.
Well, hold that thought. Let me start saying hello to everybody so we can get.
Let's do it.
Let's make everybody in chat happy here. I want to say hello to Betty. I know she's watching in the background. What's up, Sister Betty? I want to say hello to Sister D. I want to say hello to Sister Katie Dockery. She's watching, I'm sure, in the background. I also want to say hello to young Alyssa. How you doing, dear? What's going on? Because everybody always forgets to say hello to Alyssa, even her own father.
Uh-oh.
Let's say hello to the rest of the fam. What's up, 3+1 Outdoors? How you doing, Larry? There's Alan Pershala. What's up, Alan? Holy smokes, I hope I'm saying your name right, Alan. Annette Morgan in the house. Brad Caudill, what's going on, Brad? I see Avid Fisherman. How you doing, Avid? Carmel Muncie, what's going on? Chrissy Brown. Miss Cindy Stokes, the Cinnamon Roll Queen, the Queen of Missouri. And we love Missouri on this channel.
Yes. In Kansas and Illinois, unlike Chad.
And crappie bait fish on in the house. We got Creole catfishing. Go over there and give him some love and some watch time. He's trying to get those hours in. Hopefully he'll get them sooner than later. We got Dale Hayslip in the house. There's our friend Eric Massey from Eric Massey Jig Company. What's going on, Eric? How you doing, bud? Fat Boy Eric's Fishing. I resemble the first part of that username, definitely. There's Chad. What's going on, Chad? How you doing? Fields to Water. We got Richard over at Fishing Freedom. Fishing with Squirrel's been putting out some good videos, folks. Check out his channel, especially if you got a Lowrance unit, but it does go over into other units as well. He's got some really good tips on how to do everything from measuring to finding fish, including crappie on there. So check him out. Fishing with, I did say hello to Fishing with Squirrel. There's D again. How you doing? There's Michelle. It's all mine. She's got some new videos out. Check out Michelle's channel as well. Jacob in the house. Yeah, I do, man. They make me hungry. Her and Mike Chavez, man, they do nothing for my belt size. Nothing at all. Jacob Hagan in the house. Jason Kaiser, how you doing? I think that's a new one. Joe Buck 66 is in all of them all the time. We appreciate you, Joe. How you doing, buddy? There's John Patrick Jr. What's up, John Boy's Catfishing? Joy Stewart in the house. Kevin Baker, Nuts and Bolts Fishing. What's up, Kevin? How you doing? There's Lance McCoo guy who loves channel cats as much as you and I, Lyle.
I think you're right.
Mark Anthony in the house, the great Maurice Kaysen. How you doing, Maurice? Hopefully everything's well at home, buddy. We haven't heard a status from you in a while. Hope things are good. Mike Irvin in the house. There's Roger over at Muskrat Adventures. Parker Pursuits. How you doing, Parker? We got to fish real soon. Me, you, and Rob. He's already saying that I'm not part of the family, so we're going to have to change that. There's Troy. Over at Real and Virtual Outdoors. He was tying some crappie jigs today. Way to go, Troy. Real Gals Fish. That's the better half of Fishing Freedom. Look forward to meeting her this May. Scott in the house. Tim Molina. There's Van. He was on live this morning over on Lee's channels. He seemed to be feeling better. And there's Matt. Want to be outdoors.
Hey, Matt, take a look at this, buddy. Just to make your mouth water just a little bit. I thought you might like that.
We can talk about that in a second, Lyle. Don't be wasting the content all off the bat here.
It's for Matt. This is just like his, only different.
I like the real seat on that, by the way. Let's see if we missed anybody in here. 1 Ton Fishing Club. Art, what's going on, buddy? Chucky Morgan in the house. Carmel Muncie. I want to make sure I didn't miss that one. Clayton the Fishing Nut. What's up, Clayton? I said hello to Creole. I'll say hello again. So I think I got everybody. Oh, Fishing Chick in the house. What's going on? I saw a bass that she caught on Facebook today. Nice
Really?
fish. Yeah, pretty good fish. Way to go. Way to go, Lisa.
Did you get Real Gal's fish?
I did. That's the better half.
Fishing Nut?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I do an all right job. I don't care what Chad says.
Well, he does say things about you.
I know he does. Scott Swift in the house. I think we got them all. If we missed anybody, I apologize. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. And today we have the great Kim Burnett. How you doing, Kim?
Absolutely.
Oh, pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing dandy.
All right.
Just like the fish I want to catch. Dandy fish.
I had talked to you about catching fish on fly rod because you do a lot of fly rod fishing.
Yes, I do.
And I thought it would make for a great show to talk about catching bluegill on fly rods because it's an alternative way that a lot of people overlook for catching panfish. And you don't have to just catch bluegill. You can catch anything on them, but you use them probably more than anybody I know. So I thought it'd be good just to have you come in and tell us about your experience with that.
Bluegill basically just want something that looks really buggy. They're not picky, especially when they're bedding. They're really protecting the nest. They're not really hungry like crappie the same way. They're just really bedding. So they're just flushing everything away from the nest when you're fishing. And if you tie something that looks really buggy, that's all they want. They don't really care. They're not picky. They're not, they just don't want to near their nest. And you catch 100. I'll catch about 100 every time I go when they're bedding.
That's a big number.
Yeah, I just have to quit because they don't. You'll get tired before they do. I promise you that. And I just tie my signature flies that I have, on my website. That's what I use all the time.
Let me ask you this. You say 100 fish. Now, most people are always asking, how big are the fish? I'm going to ask you, how small of fish can you catch on a fly?
Oh, man. Anything that's small enough to suck it in their little mouth.
That's right.
3-inch fish.
So you can get on anything. Don't think that you can't just get, some of the larger ones to inhale those baits. So
especially those little greens. The little greens got a big mouth anyway.
Oh, they're mean too, man. They make great catfish bait. I don't mean to offend any of you panfish lovers out there, but a green sunfish.
Oh yeah.
And they're aggressive too. If they get to be 20 pounds, just like bullheads, I don't think I'd get in the water, Kim.
Yeah, you'd be in trouble.
And
they like to hang around the shore, the vegetation, they hide under rocks, and they just ambush. So you don't catch them usually out far. They always hang around all year long. They don't ever leave like the bluegill will move out and the red ear will move out. The greens, they'll hang around all year long, right along the bank in the vegetation and the rocks.
Have you ever seen them, not to get off topic, but it's so cool to witness, seen them when they're laying eggs or when they're protecting the nests and they got those little orange fins flapping right up above the water? It's like the coolest thing in the world to see. If you're ever, I think it's I want to say beginning of June, maybe, that it happens up here.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
May, June, just depends.
Oh, I remember the first time I saw that, Kim, I was like enamored because we have this pond here that's way, way overpopulated with them. So it was like a sea of orange fins just flapping, little orange tip fins right above the water. It's just something cool, something that really stuck with me. Let me say hello to a couple of people that just came in. I see Lynn over at Catfish Fever Outdoors. I see Laura the Explorer. What's going on, Lori Ann? I see Palmetto Cats. What's up, Kevin? Trophy Seekers Outdoor in the house. I think I said hello to Joy, but I think we got. Oh, and I did see Super Dave. We don't want to miss Super Dave. Definitely.
Oh, absolutely not. Kim, Jason Kaiser with Strike 3 Fishing wants to know what's your fly rod and reel setup.
I use 4 and 5 weights and sometimes my 3, just depending. But I have the fly line. Then I'll take a 20-pound mono, I'll tie a nail knot to that. Then I'll take a perfection loop, which is only about that long. It's not a very long. It's about 3 or 4 inches long. You tie a perfection loop. Then you loop your leader to that. I use a Fuhrer leader too, if anybody knows what a Fuhrer leader is.
No clue.
It's made out of like thread, or you can make it out of mono, but
Okay.
it's really, it's like woven, it's tied. It's called a Fuhrer leader.
Okay, so it's not like a is it a fluorocarbon? It's not like a fluorocarbon.
No, you can make it out of thread. You can make it out of monoline. And it's really strong and tough, and it doesn't break.
But do you want the flexibility of something other than like a fluoro? Is that why you would use that?
No, it's just like, because what I do is a lot of combat fishing. So you're fishing around trees, high grass. You're fishing just around a bunch of stuff that you get hung up. So you take your Fuhrer leader from that leader that I'm talking about, the small leader. You take your Fuhrer leader to that, then you put your tippet on that. And the Fuhrer leader has a tippet ring on it, with your little brass ring on it.
Mm-hmm.
So you hook your tippet to that. So anytime you get hung up, if you pull it and break it, you're just going to break the tippet, not the leader itself.
Okay. That makes sense to me, definitely. That's how I set up my catfish rigs as well. Not that it matters in this situation, but I'd rather just lose the very end of it than the rest of the setup. So
it keeps you fishing.
Since you got that ring in there, you would just have to tie onto that ring again.
Yeah, you just tie right back on that ring.
Cool.
You can pull it, and it's going to break from that ring. It's not, the tip is not, the leader's not going to break. It's too strong.
So how many knots do I got to learn to start doing this, Kim?
Oh, you got to learn the nail knot, the perfection loop. That's about it. And whatever knot you tie on with, you hook your leader on there with your fly.
Cool. I think I might be able to do that if I really, really concentrate hard.
But the nail knot tool, it's this tool right here.
I have one of those.
Yeah, and that's the nail knot tool. So you just like wrap your line around there, you stick it back through, then you slide it off onto the thing and you tighten it
Okay.
up.
They work pretty good on small hooks.
Now, does that just work easier to use that tool, or can you tie them with your finger if you don't have it?
I can do a nailless knot. It's called a nailless knot.
Uh-huh.
So you don't use anything. It's kind of like the uni knot, kind of.
Okay.
The uni?
Mm-hmm.
And you do that. You kind of do the uni. Then you put your fly light in there. Then you pull it tight. It's not as straight and pretty, but in a pinch, it works.
It'll work. Yeah, I have to work on my line-to-line knots most definitely because I have no. I'm not very confident in my line-to-line knots. I've been trying to work
uni
on
knot.
Yeah, the double uni works good for joining.
Double uni I've been working on and stuff, but I'm not gonna lie. I've always just went straight to like a swivel or something if I had to, which gets in the way of the eyes and stuff on most of my rods. But that's definitely something I should be working on over the winter, folks. If you're sitting at home over the winter, there's no reason why you shouldn't be working on some knots that'll help you.
We got about 10 inches of snow, 8 or 10 inches of snow. So if you have that, you have plenty of time because I'm not getting out in and get my feet wet.
That's right. And learn that perfection loop. You don't know how to perfection loop.
I hear that a lot. I watch Joe Sorelli over at Meat Eater a lot, and he's a big fly fisherman guy, whether it's for pickerel or for muskie and stuff. And he's always talking about the perfection loop on the podcast as well. So that's definitely one that I've been curious about, at least.
I can show you how to tie it. It's not that hard. I'll do a quick.
I'm going to give him solo layout for. There, Lyle beat me to it.
So the perfection loop, you want to take it, you want to loop it, and you want to grab it. You got the tag in right here. You're going to take that tag in around, and you're going to pinch it, and you're going to take the tag in again. You're going to take it across. Then you're going to bring that loop through like that. Uh-oh. Anyway. And that's a perfection.
So it's kind of like a locked-in slip knot, pretty much, right?
Yeah, I'll do it again.
Okay, cool.
You take it around, pinch it, you take it across, you take that loop. It ain't gonna work for me. I'm doing it live.
And not when you need it to work. It's kind of like fishing. When I'm live streaming, the fish don't want to cooperate.
You take it across, you bring it through like that.
Sheds on them.
But you want to make it smaller.
Right, small as possible, always better. Cool.
That's the perfection. You just snip that off, so then you can loop your leader instead of having to tie it.
Don't think I won't come back and watch that right there. So
Absolutely.
Pretty simple.
Absolutely. I would say people will come back and watch that a couple of years from now trying to figure it out, and all they got to do is watch it, because if you can see around his finger, it's not that hard to do.
No, it's pretty simple.
I think Frank over at Twisted Fishing TV called it a poop loop. He also said the blood knot is a good one to learn, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of people do the blood knot.
Yep.
But I just keep it simple.
That's right.
That's how I like to. That's how I keep my rigs. To be honest with you, Kim, the simpler the better. You know, and I'd be lying if I didn't say it was kind of intimidating because fly fishing has its own set of lingo to boot. It just seems like a foreign world to me, but one I think I need to definitely get into.
Oh yeah, it's addictive.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's a ton of fun, and you can get started with a cheap bunch of equipment to learn. But when you get addicted to it, and it's just like tying jigs or anything else. Once you start, you're hooked, and then you'll want to get better and better quality stuff, rods, reels, lines, and there's a bunch of different lines and stuff. But you'll eventually find what works for you the best, and then you'll stick with it.
Well, okay, explain to us, to me, I should say, and some of the people in chat, because I know we probably got a lot of guys that have used flies or like to use flies. The line weights, you know, like, I was talking to you about getting like my first fly fishing setup, and Matt as well. He was saying a 5-weight would probably be good for what I need. What does a 5-weight line mean, or a 5-weight combo mean?
Fly lines go from like 0 to 10 or 12. And 5 is like right in the middle of the road. So if you get something big, you have a better chance of getting it in like with a 3-weight or a 2-weight or a 1-weight, because that's really light. That's when you get into light tackle.
Mm-hmm.
You start gradually stepping up 5, 6, 7 you can use for bass, and carp. 8, your bigger fish like wiper, and like stuff like that.
I see guys around here fly fishing for carp quite a bit with little pieces of sponge on the end of their line. They actually tie a little piece of sponge and soak it in whatever oil that they got in their pocket. I think it's usually like a strawberry or something, but they're tossing them flies at certain times of the year, and they'll hook into a big like 10-pounder, and it looks like a heck of a lot of fun to get one of them on a line for sure.
Oh, it's great.
You sure they're not using chicken instead of sponges?
But
no, they're using sponges. I've talked to them, Lyle.
And again, the weight of the line is what delivers your fly. It's not you. People tend to want to cast it like a reel and rod, but it's not that way. If you do that, if you throw it back and cast it, it's just going to pile up in front of you because you don't let it load.
Okay.
But that's what delivers this fly. You have nothing to really do with it. It's all just in the wrist and letting that line load. And that's why people can't cast them, because they're casting like a rod and reel, and it doesn't work like that.
No, this is something I wanted to bring up. Definitely, I fly fishing is super effective as far as every time I've seen. Okay, here's an example. Here we have the Stocker Trout program, right, Kim? And it's combat fishing on opening day. And last year I went on, or the last time I should say I went on opening day, everybody was having a hard time getting fish. They just weren't. They didn't want anything to do with power baits or tiny spoons or Castmasters. Nothing with that. Some guy walked up with his fly rod and reel, tossed a couple casts, and literally in 20 minutes he had his 5-fish limit like it was nothing.
Yeah.
I was like, is it always work like that? He said, yeah, pretty much, especially for truckers, for stockers, obviously. But for other fish like panfish and stuff, he was saying it's just as deadly. So that kind of definitely piqued my interest.
Because all fish eat bugs, man. That's the thing.
Do.
Bluegill love bugs. That's why their mouth is so small. They can't eat anything big. So that's how they survive in ponds and without anything else, because there's always hatches and bugs landing on the water. So that's how they survive. They don't need bait. And
they're predators. They're just tiny predators.
Yeah, they're like piranha.
Yep, they definitely are. I mean, how many times have I been swimming, and this might be too much information for the people in chat, like some arm or leg hairs, and then fish are coming up and chewing on you. They think it's food. So they're pretty ravenous. They're looking for a lot of stuff.
And to go back to the trout thing, we have Bennett Springs National Park down it's like 15 miles from my house, 18. That is a huge trout hatchery in a massive 1,000,000-gallon-an-hour spring that comes out of the ground. So it's cold water. It's open year round, but you can't keep fish except certain times of year in the summer mainly. And trout are extremely cannibalistic.
Oh, sure.
They are terribly cannibalistic. They eat a lot of bugs and stuff too. But what happens at them places like that hatchery is they get up there to cleaning those fish, and when they're cleaning them fish, here comes all them other trout up there, and they're scavenging that stuff up because it's a free meal for them. So if you'll go in there with a piece of white bread and make a little dough ball and toss it out there, you'll catch them. Or tie you up a woolly booger and make it red and white, looks like the insides of a trout when they're cleaning them, and you can just sit there and rip them all day long.
Yeah, you're right.
Woolly booger, that's my pet name for Chad.
Yeah. And that's probably the easiest and one of the most well-rounded flies you can use is a woolly booger.
Yeah. I constantly hear that name being thrown around.
It imitates so many things in the water. I mean, like leeches or little small bait fish, or it just what color you tie it in. And it's a great bait, and that's what I usually teach people to tie first.
So that's a good starter one to start with, right?
Yeah, because you'll catch a lot of fish on it, and it's simple to tie.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll keep you interested.
We got a lot of people commenting in chat about different things. I'm trying to put as many of them up there as I can. I know some of them are getting away from us before I get them, but there's SK in the house. Welcome to the show, SK.
The guy Laura seems to be versed in the art of fly
fishing.
fishing.
Does. I'm kind of impressed that she knows as much about it. There's a lot of women fly fisher ladies.
I know a lot of them.
But I didn't know that we had any of them in our catfish family or panfish family like we do.
I'm actually kind of surprised and impressed at the same time of all the input we're getting from Chad. I had no idea that all these big tough cat fishermen were into fly fishing.
Here's Scott Swift says he catches cats on a fly rod. Now, that just, you know what that made me think about? Big channel cat out of Mendota on a fly rod. I'll be taking one.
I've gotten several.
Man, well, if I can get one of them 25 or 30s up there, that'd be a battle.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Make for a heck of a video, that's for sure.
Oh man, I'll be taking a good 5-weight. I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen.
SK's in the house. What's up, SK? How you doing, bud?
Question for Kim: is using a fly under a float an effective method for panfish? I'm curious for catching bait. I've never tried.
Yeah, some people use strike indicators. But don't call it a bobber because it's a strike indicator.
I was going to say, I hear that's a no-no. It's not called a bobber in fly fishing.
These are the newest ones out.
Right. Let me get your solo screen.
And you just screw the top off. And you lay your line in between there. There's a little.
Oh, that's kind of cool. That's
you lay your line in there, then you just screw it down on there.
And what brand is that, Kim?
Oh, what are these called? I can't remember. My buddy sells them at the fly shop.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of them, but
Lyle just wants to know
that's
so
the
he
newest
can buy some. Lyle loves to talk me into buying stuff.
But strike indicators work good for people that really can't detect the bite. Sometimes, because you know how they just tick it and they're not watching their line. Because usually, if a fly line's on the water, all you got to do is watch that fly line and you'll see it jump. And then you just set the hook.
So you're using wet. Okay, let's explain to everybody who doesn't know the difference between a wet fly and a dry fly, Kim.
Wet flies are subsurface.
Okay.
That's what they sink. Dry flies sit on top for a certain amount of time. They don't float on top all the time. They get wet and they will sink. So you got to dry the fly. So when you see people false casting, they're not practicing. They're drying that fly.
They're drying the fly. That makes sense.
To get it back on that water.
So what do you have more success with, wet or dry flies?
I like wet flies. I only
Like
fish dry flies when there's a hatch or you see them surfacing. You keep seeing fish rising, hit. You know what I'm saying? When they hit the water.
Yeah, when they're coming up, you can actually tell. So
and that's when I go to a dry fly. Or when hopper season's out, you see grasshoppers or anything like that hit the water, like dragonflies around the water. You know, stuff like that.
Very, very cool. I mean,
but 90% of the time, they bite subsurface.
Subsurface, okay. And you're just
90% of the time.
90% of the time, unless there's a hatch or a certain time of year when you see all the bugs landing on the water, swimming in the top of the water. Or like I said, when you see them rising all the time in different spots, you know they're eating something. There's something. Sometimes you can't even see how big it is, but they're there. You just can't see how big the bug is, but they're there.
So what kind of like drop rate are we talking about with your average like wet fly? Do they all pretty much fall the same, or some fall quicker than others? How do you judge that?
I like mine to fall mine fall really slow. Not slow, but they fall just enough so they can get a good look at it. Not so fast where it goes right by them.
So they stay in the strike zone. That makes sense.
And once they see it, and they'll just, man, they don't. It's like that.
How deep are you typically catching the fish?
2 to 5 foot.
So they're actually that deep. So it takes a while for that line to get down there, I imagine.
Yeah, and it won't take long. I mean, it'll drop. As soon as you put it in there, it's usually 2 or 3 seconds, and boom, they're hitting it.
Okay, cool.
I mean, it's one after another. Especially when they're bed. But I catch them in 2 to 5 foot all year round.
Frank had a question. He said, how about streamers?
Yeah, streamers work good. You can tie small mini clousers, if you know what mini clousers are. You know what clouser minnow is?
Mm-hmm.
No clue. Ain't gonna lie.
We use these big ones here for a wiper, but that's a clouser.
Very cool. Now, those eyes on there, is there a weight behind that eye?
Yeah, these are barbell eyes, and
they're like the barbells. Okay,
and they come in different sizes. But this is what they swim like this. They don't swim like this. They swim like this.
Like that, right?
And when the wipers are close to the bank, when the wind's blowing into, they like the windy bank. So we'll throw these out there, and the wiper will tear them up. And a little bluegill too. If you get like the mini clousers, real small, half this size, make them mini. Crappie eat them, bluegill eat them, bass eat them.
I know you tie a lot of crappie jigs on your lives, whether it's on Instagram or on Facebook. Are you ever tying flies like that during those? Because I'd like to watch
every now and then.
Every now and then?
Yeah.
So like if I ever place an order, you can tell me when you're going to tie them and I can watch you tie them?
Sure.
All right. It's a deal.
Sure.
There you go, folks. Now, let me tell everybody you want to check out Crappie Stopper, right, on Facebook, Instagram, and your website is crappiestopper.com, I'm assuming, Kim?
Crappie Stopper Jigs.
crappiestopperjigs.com. Check them out.
Yeah.
If someone would please be kind enough to share that link out in the chat so people can go check them out, give them likes on both Instagram and or Facebook would be awesome. So Crappie Stopper, you can get some stickers from him along with the jigs you order. Real good stuff. You're not going to be disappointed. And if you doubt me, just watch him tie him. He makes it look effortless, but it's not while he's doing his lives. I like watching him. Definitely go in there and shoot at him.
Kim, before the show, we was talking about how many flies and jigs you made last year. Would you share that number?
Yeah, I sold over 1,400 flies, and I tied over 8,000 jigs last year. By myself.
That's whipping them out, man. I'm not kidding.
That's a good question. I know we had talked to Steve a little bit about how he gets his hand ties made. Do you ever plan on going that route and having somebody else help you out tying them?
I don't know. I'm kind of particular. I've been doing it so long, and I don't know. I don't think I'm going to try to ever get that big because I got to fish.
I understand. Trust me, I do.
And it's growing every year. And I'm just like, now I'm working 7 days a week as it is. And I'm getting ready to retire in a couple of years. So
God bless you.
I
Heck
don't know.
yeah, man. Then you really start tying flies and building rods and doing all the other stuff.
Oh,
Trust me. Believe me, I'm telling you.
what's that? Do you ever use a hopper dropper? Yeah. We use hopper droppers all the time. That gives them two looks. So if they're hitting a hopper dropper is, say I got this hopper here. This is a big one. Say if I got this hopper here, and I'll tie a dropper line with another fly on it, like say one of these. You'll drop it with one of these little flies here. So you'll have a hopper and a dropper, and you cast it out. This is hanging down. This is on the surface. So basically, this is a bobber and a bait at the same time, because you got a line drop from that tied to this. So if they hit that, this will go like that. If they hit this, you'll know it because they come up and hit it. So it's kind of double jeopardy there.
That's cool. I like that.
It's called a hopper dropper.
Hopper dropper.
And it's very effective.
Piece of paper out here, start writing all this down. If you guys are at home, write all this stuff down. You're getting a
basically you don't need a strike indicator because you got that hopper on there.
You got the other one.
And go ahead.
The second chance added too with it.
Yeah. And we use foam because the foam doesn't get wet like so this is foam, 2 mil foam or 5 mil foam. I don't know if they can see it, but it's all foam. And
Here,
foam.
let me give you a full layout there.
Oh, so there's quite a bit of foam to that. So that's a pretty decent sized.
Yeah, this is a big one.
Yeah.
Now, do you use that one that big for bluegills?
Bluegill eat it.
Really?
Yeah, if they hit it from the back, they can get that part in their mouth. I've caught a bunch of them.
They get that hook in their mouth, it's over.
Yeah, it's done. And I target a big bluegill. I'm not talking about 5 inches. I'm talking about 8 inches plus. That's what I target.
Yeah, well, those are the ones you want to eat anyhow.
Yeah, you don't want to eat no little bluegill like that. But that foam rides high. You ain't got to put no floating on it like you do the other stuff. You got to use this fly floating to keep the other ones to ride on the surface, the real dry flies.
So what's in? Is that something in there, or is that just an air injection thing?
No, it's a floating. It's fly floating. So you put this on your fly, and it repels the water away, so it floats higher or longer on the water, so it doesn't sink. It's kind of like a shield around the fly that keeps it floating.
Okay.
It's called fly floating.
Gotcha. So it seals up the pores and whatever's the fly.
Because they will sink eventually once it gets wet. So you use that, and you'll get like 10 or 15 casts before it'll start sinking, and you just add more or whatever.
Larry from 3+1 says he's thinking fly rod for skipjack. I'm telling you right now, if you get a skipjack in on a fly rod, you've done something, because them are the fightingest machines known to man, I think. They just them skipjack that we use for catfish bait. I've get them on there 4 and 5 at a time back when we using them 6 things sabikis, and you got to use 15, 17 pound test line or they'll break them off.
Yeah, you got to get you at least a good 8 weight to get a skipjack.
I'm thinking so. Yeah,
you better step your little game up for that one.
Lynn says he don't think he's too far from you. He might have to go to a class. That'd be great. I don't know when do you have classes and stuff coming up? I know you do.
I used to teach classes at Bass Pro pre-COVID, but we haven't done it since then.
I see.
But we do have a show coming up in Clinton, Missouri. It's called Tri-Lakes. It's in Clinton, Missouri at the Benson Hall on April 11th, I do believe. And it's a fly fishing expo, and they invite all the best tires from the tri-state area. And it's just like a fishing expo, but it's all about fly fishing.
Make sure that when that gets a little closer, I'd run up there and visit with you and watch the stuff. Because I'll forget it if you don't remind me a couple times. Hell, I'll forget it by the time the show's over and forget to put it on my calendar. But Clinton's not that far from me. I mean, hour and a half or less. And Sydney and I just run up there. And because it looks like the weather's going to be crappy a while. Don't look like we're going to get to fish for a day or two.
Right. But you'll see all the good tires from all around, man. You'll see so many different patterns and just, different things that other people do too. So it's just like 30 of us.
Yeah.
I go through the channels on YouTube and on Twitter. There's a bunch of guys that tie stuff on, not Twitter, on TikTok. There's a lot of fly tires on there. And some of the stuff they do kind of boggles your mind, including yourself, how you guys make it look so simple. And real quick, I do want to say hello to Slick just joined us. What's going on, Slick? Also,
yeah.
I think Matt and Dee were sharing out the links in the chat. So if you guys want to make sure you go over there and check that stuff out, crappiestopperjigs.com. And then Kim's Instagram, I saw that was posted, and his Facebook page, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely go check him out and thank him for sharing his knowledge with us this evening. He could be doing better stuff. He's a busy man. He's probably got orders to fill.
Always. That's all right.
That's what we do, isn't it?
And you know the catalpa worms? You ever seen the catalpa worm?
Yeah, that'll get a channel cat right there.
There you go. That's a great one. I keep slacking up here.
There's one. Let me do
this. That's very impressive, actually.
That's been in the box a while. It's kind of smashed, but
and it looks just like them.
That's a catalpa worm.
It amazes me
that times.
Them worms will hit a tree, and them catalpa trees has got great big leaves on them, and they'll strip one in just a few days.
Yeah, they sure will. And they fall in the water at times if you know what they are. So basically, match the hatch, and you just.
Let me ask you this, Kim. Let's say I want to get some flies together prior to learning how to tie them, because that seems like it's an endeavor that I don't have as much time as I'd like to do now. Let's say I want to order some woolly buggers. Do I want like 10 of each, 5 of each? What's a good number to have? Because it sounds to me like you can lose them quite a bit.
Yeah, you're gonna lose some flies.
Yes, you are.
You always got to tie a few for the trees. And you'll lose some. You just kind of be careful, man. It's just like I said, it's combat fishing. What I do around the lake, so many trees, there's so many high grass behind you. You're fishing down steep banks, so you got to learn to cast high, to steeple cast.
Yeah, some of our best panfish spots here are they plant that tall grass that turns into cattails. I forget what the name of the sawgrass all the way around there to keep us fishermen out, but we seem to find our way through the stuff.
Yeah, and I know how to roll cast, so they can't keep me out.
They can't keep
one of my favorites.
You gotta learn to roll cast if you're fly fishing, because you're not always gonna be able to cast behind you.
That's right.
So you gotta learn that roll cast.
That's exactly right. That's one of my favorite when you walk up and down. Like when we used to go to Burnett and you walk up and down. But them big ones, they just lay against that bank. They don't really move around much.
No.
And we just roll cast up in front of them and let it run to them. Try to get them to strike it as they go by them.
Yeah.
Roll cast pitch, yeah. I'll tell you what, Mark and Kim, we got quite a few guys in chat tonight that's very knowledgeable.
I just got
about Explorer. Yeah, I was impressed. She said she went to a class to learn how to do it, and but she also said it's an expensive hobby, just like anything else that we do. And she's also correct about that.
It is.
I wouldn't know what she's talking about. Live scope.
Well, here's another fly that's on my website. This fly is a killer. All the flies on my website are my best panfish flies that I use. So this is a mohair leech.
Very nice.
And leeches swim in every lake, every pond. And fish love leeches. And this thing is deadly.
And they look way different once they get wet, don't they?
Yeah, they'll kind of lay back a little bit. And the more they get messed up, the better they are. Once they start eating on them and they start getting real buggy looking.
They like that, huh?
Yep.
Unlike my wife, when I get all buggy looking, she doesn't particularly care for it.
I can understand that.
And this is another one that I have. This is probably my best fly. It's the ugliest fly you ever see, but it's called the house fly.
Oh, no wonder. It does look like a house fly. Absolutely.
That thing is deadly, man. When nothing else works, I'll throw this.
And what all do you catch on that?
I've caught bass, catfish, crappie, red ear, bluegill. That's about it. Everything swims in the fresh water.
Do you have any fly catches that stand in your that stand out in your mind and your memory?
Like size wise?
Well, size wise, or like how the heck did I catch this minnow on a huge ass fly, something like that, and just anything that you can think of that surprised you.
I caught a 6-pound bass on that fly.
Wow.
I've caught several bass in the 3 to 6 pound range all the time. Because people think, oh, bass want big baits. They don't care. If it's in their face and their strike zone, they're going to eat it. They don't care how big it is. It's a meal.
That's right.
I get a lot of grief for saying elephants eat peanuts, but they truly do. If you get that bait in front of them, something's going to eat it, whether it's bigger.
Yeah, they don't care. If it's in their line of sight, they're going to suck it in and eat it. I promise you. I do it all the time.
Here's a new one to our chat, or at least I've never seen them. UK fishing with Big Dan.
I've seen him around in the chats. What's going on, Big Dan? How you doing?
Glad to have you on the show with us tonight.
And the biggest channel I've caught is 8 pounds on that fly too. Actually, it's on that fly.
Now, 8-pound channel cat on a fly rod is quite a feat.
Oh, it took a while.
Which weight rod did you have for that one?
My 5 weight.
5 weight, okay.
With a 4-pound leader.
It's doable, and I would imagine, not that I know, I'd imagine on a fly rod, because of the flexibility of the rod and stuff, that it would be, it's definitely doable, and it sounds like a good time.
Yeah, you just gotta know how to fight a fish. You know,
Mm-hmm.
It ain't about
and take your time
how heavy your line is. If you know how to fight a fish and let him do what he wants, yeah, you'll get him in eventually. And just pray the line don't break.
Yep. Don't rush them.
Hey, there's Rico 336 says, after watching Legends of the Fall, I wanted to fly fish. I think it's I think it is called The River Runs Through It. Yeah, that's a good movie.
That is. That's a great movie. Watched that years ago.
I got another one here. All these are killer, man.
I can definitely tell, Kim, that you really enjoy catching bluegills and panfish.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing like it. It's nonstop action. And they bite all day. And like I said, you're going to get tired before they do. I don't know if I can see that. That's my gill buster in black.
Gill buster? I like that too.
Yeah, I do too. That's awesome.
Then I got another one here in gray. I tied one in gray and black. And one in black. I don't have my damsel. I tied damsel too. Which damsels are the larvae of the blue damsels you see flying around the bank. I tie it in the larvae stage. And once you start seeing the dragonflies pop, that's what we use.
I need to start taking pictures of bugs that I see around here and sending them over to Dockery and have them identify them for me. So
yeah, and that's another thing. You got to look for signs of what they're eating, like especially trout fish. People lift up rocks and see what bugs are climbing on the rocks. And they got to be eating something. You just got to figure it out.
You ever tie any Helgramite flies?
Yeah, and this pretty much this right here is a good Helgramite thing because it looks like one.
It does look like it, definitely. Yeah.
It imitates a Helgramite.
It looks like it'd be a smallmouth killer out here.
Yeah. They don't know what it is. They just see silhouettes. They can't.
I can get out. There's a shallow section of river over here that you can wade that a lot of guys do for smallmouth. And there's all sorts of room to learn how to cast a rod there. So
I got a good smallmouth fly here too.
Laura says, I can't believe he's catching catfish on a fly rod. Maybe that's my ticket.
Oh, yeah. That's our smallmouth fly.
Beautiful.
There you go. That looks like this kind of a crawfish color, a darker crawfish color.
It is.
Is that a bead head on that?
Yeah, it's a cone head.
Yeah.
It's called a cone head.
Matt says,
that head made
go ahead.
What's that head made out of, Kim?
This cone head?
Yeah, is it glass, metal, what?
No, it's brass.
It's brass? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, cone head. It gives
that's what gives it the weight. Skyrocket after tonight.
I hope not. What's that saying? I hope not.
Yeah, if you got leech in the water, I don't see why that leech fly wouldn't kill either.
Oh, yeah.
Any place I've ever fished where leeches work, they will always work really well. I don't see why that wouldn't.
And this is another one right here that we use a lot.
James Alpha says he's going to have to come out and kidnap Mark so he can take him fishing.
Right on.
This is a pine squirrel zonker with the same hair on it.
That's rabbit tail. It or rabbit fur on it.
Pine squirrel.
Pine squirrel. Okay.
Yeah,
Looks from here. Well, it looked like a rabbit, but
it's
it still
pine
does.
squirrel.
That's cool.
And those are killer too. I've caught catfish on this one too. Trying to strip it along the bottom. I don't know what it represents, but they like it.
Kim, do you have one of the water walkers?
I don't know what that is.
I don't either. I've not heard of that one. Probably something that we'd relate to it maybe under a different name, maybe. Lance McCouguy says that leech fly would catch some channel cats in Wisconsin.
Oh, it will.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Yeah, we're going to be taking a fly rod up there. I can see that happening.
You know, Lyle, I like the way you think, to tell you the truth. I was just thinking the same thing when after you mentioned it. I can't stop thinking about it. Someone had mentioned they wanted to ask you, Kim, if you could recommend like an entry-level fly combo, I believe is what the question was. I'm kind of scanning.
I missed that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they got I would recommend getting a Temple fork. They're about $150 for the whole shebang, and their lifetime guarantee, the Lefty Cray.
And those are good rods.
And that's a great rod to start with. And it ain't nothing cheap about it, you know.
Nope.
It's $150, and it's a great rod. If you break it, they'll replace.
That sounds like something I need to look into.
And it's the best $150 you'll ever spend.
Yep.
Chadwick.
What has he done?
He says, I call Mark a conehead too.
That must be Chad.
Yeah. Richard Conyers says, Mr. Bennett, thank you for your products. I have purchased a few from you and enjoy using them. Well, Richard, thank you so much for buying stuff from Kim. He works really hard to make one of the greatest products on the market today.
Try to get them out fast as I can.
You rip them out pretty good. I watch you a lot of times when you're doing them lives, and you rip them out pretty quick. And they're good. They're quality built. And the thing about it is, you make them for people, but you're also explaining to guys that do their own how to do it as you go. And that's pretty impressive.
I'm just a teacher, man. That's just in me. That's what I like to do. I like to teach, you know. I ain't got no secrets.
Yeah, giving always ends up being better in the end. Slick was wondering if you showed that granny weave yet. The only reason why, another reason why I highlighted that is to remind everybody that Kim is also on SK's show every Wednesday night at 9 p.m.
Every Wednesday.
Yep, every Wednesday. So check them out.
Great show.
That's if I got one in here.
That's probably one of the greatest late night shows. I mean, there's a lot of good ones on late night now. There really is. But that's a very knowledgeable show. And you can ask questions in there. Usually SK's running behind on chat, but last night he wasn't quite as far behind. I don't know why, but they will get to them questions and answer them as you go. So, gosh darn it.
Everybody likes those weave crappie jigs.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
the granny weave crappie jig. I don't know if they consider it.
I like those colors. Hello, with the black belly.
Black and orange.
That's the top. The belly's the top. That's the orange of belly.
Okay. The orange is the belly and the top.
Yeah.
That's
basically because it'll rise
that's
like
gonna
that.
do work right there. I can see it right now. I like that.
Yeah.
Just ever use a salmon egg tied up or tie egg sacs?
Yeah, I know how to tie salmon eggs. I don't do a lot of trout fishing because I don't like it that much.
I don't either. They're nasty to eat.
I like freshwater fishing.
Come up here, we'll get you on some steelhead. You might change your mind.
Yeah, I would like
to catch
that.
them, believe me, I'll go, but it's not
I'd
my
like
first
to catch
choice.
them.
It's not my first choice.
I don't like rainbows and stuff like that to eat. And let's face it, when you catch them, they die right away.
Yeah, they don't live long.
No, they don't. So you gotta have somebody that wants them or something because. Matt says, sorry guys, he meant a water strider.
I don't know what that is either.
I don't either. I figured you'd know what that was, but I don't either.
I've never heard of it. There's names for everything. You know, they got so many. There's so many patterns out there, man. You'll never
just off the top of your head, if you was to guess, how many fly patterns are there? 20,000?
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
And some people make their own and tweak somebody else's fly and call it something else. You know,
I think that happens a lot, don't you?
It does.
Yeah.
And I created my own, except the leech is not mine. This is Rick Zeiger from Iowa. This is his fly.
Matt says Jermaine is the family name of the bug.
But the rest of my flies, I created my own. Nobody else's time. You won't see.
It's hard to do for somebody that's getting new in the game to try to create something that somebody hasn't already thought of, or thought of. It's not impossible, but at this point, I don't even try to do that anymore. I just tie what I find successful for me, and other people can catch fish on it. I'm sure they will. Hell, if I can catch fish on something, anybody can. Pretty much, it's kind of where I'm at.
And they don't have to be pretty. People like jig tires. They don't have to be all pretty. And crappie don't care.
No.
Pretty catches fishermen.
It does.
That's correct.
I preach that all the time. They can add all the eyes and all the reptile eyes and all that. It don't matter.
Be more concerned about the usability of a fly and how similar it is to the hatch. I would guess that's where I would start. So, and tips like you did give me as far as tying the jigs tight, also ending where the hook point is. That was one thing that you pointed out right away that every time I tie a jig, I think about.
Yeah, that's just the way I do it. Everybody doesn't do it that way, but that's the way I do it.
Another thing I noticed about hand ties, and probably the same with flies, is you get them right in the nose.
Yeah,
I lose a heck of a lot less crappie with a hand tie than I do with plastic or anything else, or live bait even, because I'm always getting them right under the nose, right in the snoot.
Yeah, because plastics sometimes take away that gap because they're so far on down on the hook. It takes away from the gap in the hook that it has.
Matt put up another name for that. I can't pronounce that one, Kim. I don't know if you can read and know what they
the girt side gurgler? He's probably talking about the girt side gurgler.
It may be.
Yeah, I bet that's
There's
what
Patriot James. Glad to have him in here tonight. Good to see you in here, James.
And the gurgler's just like a hopper, too. Basically a hopper pattern.
Okay.
And it moves water, so kind of like I would say like whatever they call them stupid things that move the water.
Frogs?
Right.
Oh my goodness. What the
basically it sits on the water and the nose is kind of up, so when you pop it, it moves water.
Right.
It's a popper or like a spook, right?
Yeah, it moves water.
It would be a popper then.
Yeah,
SK wants eyes on his jigs.
Well, he ties his own, so he don't need me.
Yeah, it don't matter.
Yeah, I know what I think about
Oh man, I knew that was coming.
That still bites, so I know you don't need eyes.
Thank you, Laura. She says it's a great show. Really enjoyed it. Thanks for sharing your knowledge, Kim. I have subscribed. That's what we're after, is getting and you guys that have not subscribed to Kim's, please go over and subscribe to his channel, and you can catch him like it was posted a while ago on Instagram and Facebook Live a couple times a week usually. What do you have a schedule when you tie live?
Yeah, I go live every Wednesday at 7 on my page, which is Kim Burnett, and Instagram. I just do pop-ups. When I'm sitting here bored or something on the weekends or whatever, I just pop up and start tying. Whoever watching. If they don't, I still keep tying. I don't care.
Yeah, I get in there.
All those orders. Might as well get some social media.
And I just like talking to people, and
yeah, I get in there and we talk a lot, and a lot of guys are asking you questions, and you always give them the right answer. And so if you're watching Kim and you have a question about something he's doing, all you got to do is type it in there. He'll look down and check that and answer your question, and never miss a beat. He just keeps going.
Absolutely, it's awesome. You do a great job with your lives, I have to admit, Kim. So
I agree.
You, bud.
And a lot of people tie, but they don't show the process.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I do. Like I said, I'm a teacher at heart, so I ain't got no secrets. And people tell me, if you keep showing people how to tie, you'll be out of business. I'm like,
that's not true.
That's not true.
It's never happened.
That's not true at all.
It's never happened yet. And I've taught hundreds of people how to tie.
And they still, it looks to me like if you're doing 8,000 jigs, you're doing plenty.
Yeah, something's going on.
Thank you, Joe Buck. We appreciate that. We always have a great time when Kim's on here. SK says he thinks Kim is tie faster when he's live.
I don't know about that. I'm thinking if you're tying not live, I'm thinking you're knocking him out. Am I wrong in thinking that, or is SK right?
Live does maybe tie a little fast. When I'm
It
here with
does?
nobody, I just kind of relax.
Yeah, okay. That makes
But
sense too.
when you're talking to people and they want to see it, I just go to another speed. I just crank them out, man. And it helps me get them done. So that's why I go live too. It helps me get some of my orders done and talk to people.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question now that is off of the beaten path of what we've been talking about all night.
Yeah, he's going to say that I'm probably his favorite of your three sons.
I want to ask you what your feelings are about the ability right now to buy tying equipment. I know you've made the statement that you've got enough stuff that you could tie for a long time without having to purchase anything more. But a lot of us are not like that, and supplies are really, really hard to come by right now.
Yeah, supply and demand is bad right now. It's even like Danville and Wapsie, they're all having supply issues. So next year it might get worse.
That's what I'm worried about, if it's going to get better or worse.
There's so many colors that I used to get that aren't there anymore, and I'm searching everywhere. And they're saying, "Oh, I've ordered 7 months ago, and I still haven't got my shipment."
And I'm thinking it could be that much longer.
Yeah, it's not too good. So I would say if you get what you can and stock up what you can, and
that's right. Fish Ranch Home, welcome to the chat.
Yeah, and probably the most important question of the night here, Kim. I Want to Be Outdoors is asking, do you like bacon?
I got a freezer full of them.
Oh, there you go.
They don't taste good. Wrap bacon around it. I promise.
That makes everything taste better.
I love bacon.
I do too.
SK says you take no breaks when you're live.
Oh no.
Well, it's been a lot of fun tonight, Kim. Thank you for coming and joining us on a Thursday evening. I know it's late. I don't know if you're working tomorrow or not, but if your roads are as bad as they are down here, it's probably not going to go in.
No, we're good. I'm up late every night, so like I said, I tie every night. I go to bed about midnight every night.
I understand completely.
I don't need no sleep.
It's always fun and an honor to talk to you, Kim. I really appreciate
it. It is.
Same
And I appreciate the time that you spend on SK shows and your lives as well. I've learned a heck of a lot. And you don't just enrich my fishing with your products, but you enrich my fishing lifestyle. So I appreciate people like you and all the people in chat, including Lyle Stokes over here. So
thank you, sir.
I just love fishing. I love talking fishing. I can do it all day, every day.
That's kind of where we're at. So it all works out really well.
We can do this show every night if you want.
I never thought of it, but what we should have done was got SK in here with us tonight. He's in chat because it's so hard to get him to come on and do a show with us.
Yep.
Thank you, D. But yeah, we've had a great time tonight, and we appreciate it so much that you'd spend your time doing this with us. And we're going to get it set up on a Saturday night tie one of these nights and get you and Eric and Mark and Chad and James Dockery. By the way, anybody that hadn't subbed James Dockery Fishing needs to go over and do so. He would appreciate it whether he says so or not, and I know I would because it makes me smile.
SK's giving us some heat here. He says, what happened to the start time today? We had some technical difficulties, SK. We had to get them worked out.
Yes, we did.
We got it worked out, and we're here now, so we appreciate you.
Lyle sound like Tweety Bird.
Yeah. We've got to get that fixed. I sound bad enough as it is, so we want to make sure everything's as good as it can be.
That's funny.
You got anything else you want to plug, Kim?
Nope. That's it. Whatever y'all want to do.
You guys saw the links in chat. Make sure you check them out. Watch his lives. Watch him with SK. I'm going to plug my show on Monday nights after Catfish Weekly. We're going to talk March Madness. We're going to talk about rules. We're going to tell you how to get involved in it. And and we'll go from there. There might be a couple of guests on there. I'm doing that, and we're going to reach out and see if anybody's going to want to be sponsors and stuff like that. So stay tuned; it'll be a good time. Also, I'm hopefully I'll be able to announce my Size Matters crappie tournament. We're getting a date together for that. So if you like catching crappie, I'm going to put a poll up right after the show on my community tab. If you guys think it should be a 9-inch minimum for the fish to count or a 10, are we going to make it really hard or not as hard on the contested? So we'll see who wants to get in on it.
Oh, one more thing about fly fishing on the retrieve. I haven't talked about retrieve.
Sure.
Okay. We have plenty of time.
When you cast it out there, instead of stripping it like that, I do a figure 8. Slow retrieve. Figure 8, dropping that line. Just like that. If you can learn that technique, that's how they love it. Instead of strip. They like it just coming in just, yeah. So that's a great technique to use if you're fishing for bluegill and panfish.
Well,
absolutely, SK, 100% you can be in there. We'll see if we got anybody in the crappie catching family on my side that's man enough to take you on.
Oh,
somebody will.
Okay.
But as soon as spring hits, just follow my page. You'll see all the big bluegill I catch. You can go on there and look now and see a million.
Yeah, don't wait for spring. Go check it out now.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And everything I catch is on my fly. So I tell you, they work.
That's way cool. Just so everybody knows, Monday night on Catfish Weekly, we're having Bex and Stefan come on. So that ought to be a fun show. She's pretty high energy little gal. So looking forward to that. And I don't know. Let me check here. I don't remember if I have somebody set up for next week here or not.
SK says I only catch little crappie.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we know.
We might have to handicap SK. No, my name isn't Chad. We won't do that.
Oh man. But anyhow,
those little 12 to 14-inch babies, we know.
You was catching them till the snow hit.
Oh, we caught some last week at Clinton, man. We had to break some ice. We finally found them. Early, we couldn't get to the areas he wanted to because it was just so locked in. But as the day got longer and the wind picked up, it kind of moved the ice to one side. And we found them under a big lay-down tree. And they were sitting 14 foot of water just under this big lay-down tree at the bottom. And we tore into them the last couple hours and salvaged the day.
Yeah, that's tough. A great day.
It was tough.
Yeah.
But we didn't quit.
Hey, Danimal, how you doing? Catalpa flies. Call me. Well, Kim, again, thank you so much. I want to thank everybody for joining us in chat tonight. We had a great bunch of people in here. Be sure to tune in next Thursday night, and we'll do our best to bring you another entertaining evening of talking about pan fishing. Thanks, everybody, for watching. See you then.